Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hotsport for another video. I know you guys are here to see Anton's tears, and they will be coming. But as you can see, the background behind me is the very famous Bondi Beach, one of the most famous beaches in the world, the top most popular beach in the country which I am resident of, Australia. And for all those who do not know by now, about 6 days ago, there was a absolute tragedy that occurred there. Um, One man decided to take, actually, a father and a son decided to take the lives of other people into their own hands because they felt that they needed to settle a score, a political score, a anti-Semitic score, an anti-Zionist score, whatever you want to call it. And it was a tragic, tragic day in this country. So I just want to take a minute or two to remember those who died. And yeah, if you can't hang in there for a couple of minutes, then you're more than welcome to click off. But we're gonna have an amazing Anton's tears as always. But first, I just want to spend some time kind of giving my part a little bit. I've mentioned this on Fire Them Cannons. I've discussed this for a brief second on Six Sided on Thursday night in the UK. But yeah, look, for everybody who doesn't know, I'm Jewish. If that bothers you, then whatever. And yeah, it's the holiday season, as I said on Fire Them Cannons. And for everybody, Merry Christmas to you guys coming around the corner. But for me, it's all about Hanukkah. And what makes this very personal for me, not only was it is in my country, it happened to be to my people, celebrating Hanukkah. It's the holiday season, and we're all out here trying to celebrate, the festival of lights. It's supposed to be a happy holiday. And it became a bloodbath. And now we're going to never forget the first day of Hanukkah, especially in this country, I reckon forever. And we will always remember. And I want to take time to remember the lives of some of these. First of all, I want to take a specific, make it a specific shout out to a man named Ahmed El Ahmed. By the way, again, for those who don't know, this is not a Muslim Jewish thing. This is a Muslim man who was a hero. He tackled the shooter to the ground. Now he's been hospitalized. And he's injured and recovering at St. George's Hospital in Sydney. But, shout out to him, God bless him. But yeah, here's a name of some of them, and the list just keeps growing and growing of the people who died. So, first of all, there's a girl named Matilda. She was 10 years old, and she came from a Ukrainian family. Her mother actually spoke very, very nicely the other day. She was only 10 years old. She was the youngest person who died in this attack. And then there's Edith Brutman. She's a Jewish community service worker. She's a vice president of the B'nai B'rith, and she also, may her soul rest in peace. Alex Clayton, 87 years old. He was a Holocaust survivor. So can you imagine coming to this country, having survived the Holocaust, only for your life to end in the very, very same way that it was intended to, potentially, by the same sort of evil people years back? He escaped that only for it to be his ending. I think is absolutely tragic. Then there's Peter Meager, who is a former New South Wales police officer and a rugby volunteer. He was there to photograph the event. So he was just the photographer in that. There is Ruvain Morrison. He's the community member who died to protect, and he was there protecting others. Then there was Rabbi Eli Schlager, who his father is a Rabbi Ullman, who is a big, big rabbi in Sydney. I actually had the pleasure of knowing Rabbi Schlager and having eaten with him, and yeah, it's very sad. It was very shocking to learn. And there are a few friends of mine who are, this is their rabbi, and they were actually meant to attend this event, and they told the rabbi, I'm not going to be able to be there, and that was like kind of last thing they ever said to him. Like, it's absolutely a sad, sad thing. There's there's another rabbi, Yaakov Levitan. There's a Marika Pogani, 82-year-old volunteer community contributor. There's Tibor Weitzman, 78-year-old great-grandfather, and Dan Elakayam, a French citizen and local football player. That was the original list. There were some extra that have been added as well, unfortunately, since. There's Tanya Trediak. She's actually from Randwick, 68 years old. She was the final victim. And this one, by the way, for Premier League fans, a guy named Adam Smythe, big time Liverpool fan. He's a huge fan of the Premier League, also a fan of the Sydney Swans. He was just on a walk with his wife on the beach. His wife Katrina. He was shot down at the age of 50 years old. Absolutely devastating. And then, of course, there was the couple who, Boris and Sophia Gurman. They were a Ukrainian couple, and they came across the attacker, and they tried to disarm him, but they were unsuccessful. And yeah, they ended up getting fatally shot by the perpetrator. So yeah, it's absolutely devastating scenes. I appreciate you guys. I know I took about 7 minutes already in this video discussing this, and if you guys lost interest, that's perfectly fine by me. And again, I just think some things are more important, and I just thought that I had to get this out. I know this is not a political channel, this is a sports channel, but I had to get this out. And so to all of those who have stuck through, and I appreciate you guys for hearing me out. I think it's now time for us to get to Anton's tears. All right, guys, now we are to time for Anton's tears. Thank you again so much for spending some time, if you made it this far, listen to the opening part of this video, because I thought it was a very key message. And again, this is not something that is happening all the time where I am, but it was very important for me to share that with you. I felt like this is my channel, and it's just something that I felt like I just could not go on and talk about football and do all these fun interactive segments without getting that out of the way first, and again, just bringing some attention to it, recognizing it. But yeah, now it's time for Anton's tears. So make sure you're hitting the like button, make sure you're subscribing, make sure you are hitting the QR code to get you to Fire Them Cans. We're going to have a live stream at around 10 a.m. UK time. So this video at the end will redirect you to that, or at least have you on the suggestions of videos to go onto that live stream. So let's go. But let's start with the bottom row. And guys, yes, for those who are watching, tuning in this in, they'd be like, where's Wolves? Well, Wolves have been eliminated from the tiers, and it just so happened that Arsenal almost drew with them right after I did that. Freaking knew that I was doing that 1 week too early, and then the Wolves went ahead and did that to my club, but we still got ahead and got 3 points. But yes, I've got a new elimination candidate, I think, for me, and that's Burnley. Yeah, just statistically speaking, I'm looking at Burnley, right? They got 10 points this season. Their goal difference is at -15. Yeah, I just think they're the least talented team. So I'm just thinking, who is favored to, I think, be the next one to be the worst team in the Premier League outside of Wolves, who are dead to us. And yeah, look, again, They hosted Fulham, and Fulham beat them 3-2 at home. Like, that's a side, if you're Burnley at home, you got to be beating. Like, Fulham, I think, has been on a good run of form, but overall, though, when you're playing at home, you're trying to survive in the league, it's one of the teams that you really got to be beating at home. I feel, for me, like Burnley are starting to realize this ain't the Championship no more. They're starting to kind of just roll it into reality, and I got them at the bottom tier. Let's go. Next up, Survivor. So you know the old American, what is it? It was a reality show called Survivor. I think they have an Australian Survivor too, if I recall. And these are the 4 contestants, I feel, for me, for that third team that could potentially go down. I'm pretty confident Wolves are going to go down. That's why I've eliminated them the tiers. At the moment, the other one that's real risk, but I think it's going to be a while until I kind of consider them eliminated, because that's Burnley. But one of these 4, I reckon, is the other one. And let's just say, I think the Leeds are doing a great job recently. I think they've been on fire, and like they got a point at Brentford, which, by the way, like, it's a really good result. A lot of people have done a lot worse. Better teams, bigger clubs have done a lot worse at Brentford. And, you know, Calvert-Lewin, shout out to him. I think he's got like the record for the consecutive amount of goals in the history of their football club, or something like that. Or across all the big leagues, the most goals consecutively right now, actively across all big leagues. I think that's the stat. And they got a point at Brentford, and then you follow up that with, of course, the draw with Liverpool, the draw with the victory over Chelsea, the last second defeat to City. Leeds are looking good to survive, my friends, right now. And then you got Nottingham Forest, who last week I had somewhat, in that next kind of category. And man, they went ahead, they slapped Tottenham. That's the second time that I've seen them completely just stun one of the big teams in the league. The other time it was Liverpool, and this time it was Spurs. And so again, a team that just shows that on their day, I think they're too good, they're too talented to get relegated from this league. But again, I think that's a favorite in this Survivor sweepstakes. Fulham again went ahead, got a win against Burnley. I was saying they were starting to pick up some momentum, and then they kind of let us down because they couldn't beat Palace. And then they went ahead and they did what they should do. I said Burnley should probably get one at home, but from a Fulham perspective, we're playing Burnley. We got to win, pick up 3 points if we're gonna play well in this Survivor challenge, and they've done that quite well. West Ham again gave Villa a tough defeat. Like, you have to have a Morgan Rogers masterclass to get that bad boy over the line. So this is a tough Survivor. I think there are 2 teams. There's one that's for sure going down. The other one that's kind of flagging and needs to is way below the level of these 4 teams. And then these 4 teams are starting to peak. But again, somebody's got to go. And unfortunately, there's going to be a team that probably might get relegated that you think is a bit unlucky, that they're still Premier League quality. But hey, most of those type of sides end up coming back the next season. So I think that's kind of what this bracket is right now. But anyway, we'll move and we go up to the next tier. Let's go. Not what I expected, and I'm going to flip these both in the reverse. So again, Newcastle lost the derby away from home at Sunderland. I called that. I did call that. No, I did not, because we didn't do upset alert last week. But I did think that. But again, at the same time though, they lost the derby to Sunderland, like a team that's been in the Championship and below for years while they've been up here in the Prem. They had to win that first one. They had to show them, like, hey, look, we're far more advanced than you in our project. But they just haven't. And for me, Newcastle should be a top 6 team in the league right now, based on talent. And at the moment, where do they sit in the Premier League? They sit in the second half of the table in 12th. And we're almost halfway through the year, right? In about 11 days or so from now, we will be halfway through the season. By the time we tick over to 2026. Where are they? This is not what I expected from Newcastle. I expected at least to be in the top half of the table by now. And then there's another team that, on the other hand, is doing what I didn't expect. I expected Brentford to be in that tier kind of below. Now, I think overall, they're 15th down the league, which, by the way, is stunning to me because I felt like their form is higher than 15th. But I think they're playing better, than most, right? Again, disappointing to, I think, drop points at home against Leeds from their perspective, for sure. But again, they've been a team that's been a pain in the ass for a lot of the big teams in the league, and I didn't expect that to happen. So, again, these are right around the same areas. I still think that Newcastle is ahead of Brentford. Don't get me wrong, even though Brentford did beat them at their home ground. We're talking about, teams who did a lot worse at the G-Tech. Newcastle, for one. But again, they're both in this tier, but I didn't expect them to be in this tier at this point of the year. I gotta be honest. Next, let's move on. AFCON issues. So I think these teams are two that are you're going to be kind of pushing for that top half of the table, maybe just below it. But right now is going to be a challenging point in time. So I was looking at the table of how many people are going to be, what teams have how many players out in AFCON. Sunderland are going to be missing 6 players to AFCON. So this is a team that started very, very well. They've got Man City coming to the house in a couple weeks, which, again, why it always happens this way. Arsenal's to play a Sunderland at full strength, and Man City is going to play a Sunderland with 6 players away at AFCON. Sorry, just had a bit of a rant. But yeah, I think it's going to be a challenge for these two teams. So it's something to watch. Indai and Magai Gay is also going to be out for Everton this weekend against Arsenal, and of course for the next month or so. So, not Magai Gay, oh my god. Idrissa Gana Gay. Magai Gay is an old player. Idrissa Gana Gay. They're gonna be gone. So again, I think these two teams have been, fairly consistent. That's why they sit 8th and 9th in the Premier League table. But I think it's going to be a challenging month upcoming for both these two teams. Again, for another reasons, Everton are hosting Arsenal right now, the pole position leaders, and Sunderland are going to be playing at home in a couple weeks. Manchester City, who are, played by Man City a couple weeks back as well. They're kind of in that middle zone between the two fixtures. Who are multiple time champions of the other challengers. So a tough month coming up for both these teams. I'm interested to see kind of how they go. I think it'll tell a lot of their season if they're able to kind of just tread water before their boys come back. I think it'll be huge for both of these teams in the season. But I think this is kind of where they are sitting in the tiers. Next up, must-win game. Guys, look at the form guide. Bournemouth, who, by the way, now are 13th in the table, are winless in their last 5 or 6 now. It was a thrilling draw, and it was big. The way that they got themselves in front against Man United, even though Man United turned it around, they still were able to get the equalizer. It was a really, really good performance. You finally got goals from Anton Semenyo, who, by the way, again, is being that those heavy links are not going away. In fact, they're getting stronger, and we're starting to identify the teams who are really serious about them. But they got Burnley this weekend, good boys. They must freaking win. Because if they don't win at home at the Vitality against Burnley, sound the alarms, ladies and gentlemen. It will be time to sound those alarms if that would be the case. Right now, this is Bournemouth's most important game of the season. Show us that, again, you just play Man United and Chelsea, right? Okay. But at Burnley, show us that you're better than Burnley. Look where I have Burnley in the tiers. Bottom, elimination candidate. Get the 3 points. That would be crucial. That would be crucial 3. Because how many How many points do Bournemouth have right now? 21. I think they're 24 points. By the way, Bournemouth were like 18 or 19 or 20 points like weeks and weeks and weeks ago. They stuck on 21. So again, points against Man United and Chelsea should not be sniffed at in this run. But it's time to get wins because they have got no wins in about 6 weeks. Right. That one's been coming. That's enough said. I gotta say on them. Next up, flying south for the winter. I mean, these two teams were saying were flavor of the month last week, and they're kind of proving my point. Like, look at the opponents, and yeah, take it into consideration. But come on, guys! I expect you guys to do a lot better than that. Especially Palace at home against Man City. You fucking fell over, laid over, rolled over for City. You beat Liverpool there. You give me mid blocks. I'm like, what happened now? And I always have this. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm starting to get just a bit triggered about Man City. It's just some teams just when it comes to City, don't give you the same that they've been doing when they in other games. And then Brighton, they went away to Anfield. I felt like it was a bit of a what's the word I'm going to go with here? What is the word? Like a fire pit that they were walking into. With Liverpool going on with the Salah stuff, and Salah was put back into the team. There was a bit of like a moment where the fans got behind him. Oh, yeah, literally. But it was an FKTK masterclass. Again, by the way, away at Anfield, I told you guys about Brighton, how they are literally like not the same at home versus away. I hope I get this Brighton when they come to the Emirates next weekend. I really, really hope so. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, just don't believe. And I know there's so much hype around Villa right now. And I'm like, guys, it was freaking West Ham. I know they beat Arsenal. I know they beat Arsenal. I know they've beaten City as well. But a lot of these other teams, just look at the schedule they've coming up, right? Starting from this weekend, which they've got Manchester United. Then next weekend, they have got Chelsea at the Bridge. Then they've got Arsenal looking for revenge. And then they've got Forest. Okay. But they got somebody else tough in there as well. Away to Palace. 3 games in a row against Big Six opposition now for Villa. Time to show me something. Show me that I'm wrong. Because right now, you are ticking up the tiers. Let's not, right? I think you're doing amazing. I think your form is amazing. But do I think you are top 3 like so many people somehow are painting you to be? No. You needed another individual brilliant masterclass just to beat West Ham. At home. No, actually away, sorry. My bad. Away from home. But, yeah, and then for Spurs, what the F was that? I don't believe in you whatsoever. I gave you so much prop ups. I would say, I like some of the signings you made, I like what Thomas Frank has been doing, and it seems to be falling apart. What keeps you this high out in the tiers is future projection, talent. You're just too talented to be falling down. But I've got news for Tottenham fans. You guys are at 11. If you guys lose this week, there's potential for you to be 15th. Let's say Brentford, Fulham, Bournemouth all have got, I think, winnable fixtures, if I'm not mistaken. Bournemouth has got Burnley, right? Brentford's got Wolves. Bournemouth got Burnley. Brentford's got Wolves. And the other one, which is, where do we say, Fulham, have got Forest at the Cottage. Those 3 teams could all win, and if Tottenham lose, this weekend to Liverpool, they could be as low as 15th. So this is, again, a critical moment. And again, with all that being said, you're like, wow, look, they're how high they are up on the tiers. Again, I believe in their overall talent. I believe by the end of the season, they will be able to have a really good purple patch where they're going to go on a nice little run there, and they're going to make it, I think, somewhere around this, top 5-6 in the league by the end of it. That's just kind of how I feel. Next up, second tier. I know it is the second tier, and I just called it second tier because it's got many meanings behind it. I just think that these three teams should be favorites against most teams there are in the league. Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United. But they also could have a horrendous day against any of these teams below them as well, which what separates them from the teams above them at the top of the tier, which is why I don't consider these guys title challengers. They're top 4 challengers. They could beat anybody on their day. They could lose to anybody on their day. They could draw with anybody on their day. They could have a high-scoring draw that you can, point proof. Man United drew 4-4 at home with Bournemouth last week. Liverpool the week before that had a 3-3 draw away at Ellen Road. Speaking of Ellen Road, I've seen, Chelsea also drop points at Ellen Road. But you're also seeing wins. You've seen some comfortable wins. Chelsea comfortably put Everton to the side. And Liverpool comfortably put Brighton to the side. And Man United, the week before that, spanked Wolves at Molineux 4-1. They all got the potential, and they've all got big wins this year. Chelsea got a draw with Arsenal. They've beaten Liverpool. Liverpool beat Arsenal this year as well. They beat Villa. Well, it's the only team that beat Villa in Villa's tougher run. But they've also, lost some shockers. Drew with Leeds, that 3-0 again home against Forest. And then Man United have gotten huge wins. They've beaten both teams to the side, to the left of them on this screen. But they've also lost to Brentford. I believe they've dropped points to Fulham. I believe they've dropped points to Nottingham Forest. I believe that they dropped points to West Ham, right? They dropped points to Everton. So, that's why they're second tier. That's just what separates these teams with these teams, the co-favorites, Arsenal and Manchester City. And that's for the first time in a long time, Arsenal don't sit alone at the top. I gotta say, I'm still confident in my team. I think this is a massive week for my team. We have to go away. The way form has been bad. Let's go away. We've got no freaking excuses. The team should be a lot healthier now. We've had a week to rest completely. We're not even rotating the side. The backups have had a week to rest. Let's go ahead. Let's send a message. Let's get the business professionally done against Everton and make us feel better. Because Man City right now are circling. Man City right now, of the two of us, are the one on the better form. And I expected them to drop points to Palace last week. And they thoroughly did the opposite. So they're starting to hit form, and I do worry that if we slipped up and let them in the front, that we could be in big, big trouble. So this is a warning to my team, to my club, to Arsenal. Let's go ahead. Let's just take care of business. And you never know what might happen early. You never know if West Ham, because West Ham have pulled a few shockers out of the bag this year as well. Let's not get that mistaken. If somehow West Ham pull a shocker at the Etihad, we better be freaking ready to go. Take advantage of that, because that could be massive. Now, I'm not saying that. I will expect City to get 3 points against West Ham. 100,000% I do. It's the Premier League. And yeah, Haaland is a freaking machine. Shirky's got 6 assists for a guy who's missed most of the season. Foden is looking like old Foden. City are clicking, and Rodri's not even back yet. Yeah. And right now, Arsenal, we barely got it over the line against Wolves. We almost coughed it up. Oh, but, you know, sometimes games like that happen. You have to steady the ship. It's time now to move to a different phase of our form. Playtime is over for the Gunners. Anyway, guys, that has been Anton's Tears for this week. Thank you guys very much. Again, this video, as I said, will redirect you to, hopefully, if I can get all of the technology right, to Fire Them Cannons at 10 a.m. UK time. We are going live. So guys, make sure you have the notification bells turned on for that one. And I will see you guys in the next video. Anton out.